But in all of that discussion, it kind of brought up another idea. Well, not really another idea, but another issue discussion that I want to have right now because, well, it's valid. And so with all of these changes that they're making right now, we've already heard the argument being made that like this isn't going to help PvP, that this is going to make the game too casual, that it's going to kill build diversity, blah blah blah. Do you think? And I'm not just talking about Division 2 in this. Do you think game developers can actually make games for everyone now? I was in a podcast last week, and as a matter of fact, I meant to have that link and put it in there because it was a really, really fun time. So if you have Spotify, here's the link to the stream. But anyway, we got into a really good discussion there about people being let down by games, right? And it started as a discussion more about like an excitement and what's the word I'm looking for? Expectations, right? And people having really, really high expectations. And games not being able to live up to those expectations. And I actually said that I don't think that's true, that we had all of these letdown games last year. We had all of these letdown games in these massively multiplayer online games, right? These MMO type games, Division, Destiny, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, like those types of games, we had a lot of these disappointments. But if you look back on the past couple of years of games, Anthem was a huge one. But if you look back on the last couple of years, would have been the best games that have come out. They've all been single player because they're easier to balance, they're easier to program, they've got controlled content, right? It doesn't need to be linear. It can still be open world or ish, right? Like something like Jedi Fallen Order, God of War, Spider-Man, all pseudo open world, but very controlled, right? They can make the game have far less bugs, far less issues because it's a controlled environment. Whereas when you get into Destiny, Anthem, Division, Breakpoint, like all of these other games, it's so chaotic of a development schedule that I don't believe it's possible to have a games as a service live type of game that's released for everybody. And I honestly would love to see, and I'm going to catch some shit for this, I'm sure, but I would love to see PvP pulled out and made into its own expansion or section. I don't like seeing them merged anymore because too much development time, depending on your perspective, right? If you're a PvP player, too much development time goes towards PvE. If you're a PvE player, any time going towards PvP sucks. So like, I would really like to see them make it a separate entity with separate gear, separate advancement trees and everything else, as opposed to being tied into one, because I just don't think this 10-year long experiment has worked. And I don't think it can work. I really, really don't. I am completely open, though, to have my mind changed. So if you're watching this on YouTube right now, thank you very much. Let me know in the comment down below what you think about that. But if you're here on Twitch, let me know, man. I'm really, really curious about it. I missed a bunch of chat, so I'm going to go back and try to catch up here. Splitter Shield says, you think it'll probably be good for the game in the long run, but it all sounds like pretty far off, and what I really want to know is what's coming next content-wise. Splinter Shield, here's the thing. I know February we're getting episode 3. It's 2 missions and whatever, so content-wise, doesn't really matter. It's not going to be much. This update, I'm firmly convinced, because I'm completely speculating and I think I'm always right, or at least I'm never wrong, that this update, whatever they're talking about, this update, I don't know if this will be title update 8 or whatever. I think it's going to come with the first batch of year 2 content, which I think is going to hit right at year 2. I think it's going to hit at the year 2 anniversary. Making the game too casual sounds like a BS argument to me. I mean, I agree. I don't think it's making the game too casual, but I do think games have been made too casual. This not being one of them. But Destiny 2 at launch was made far too much with casual players in mind. That was a discussion that we had last week, though. It was about how do you define casual. I'm playing with a toothpick, by the way, if you see that. That's what that is. No, I completely agree. The gear system right now is overcomplicated, in my opinion. They just said it's coming into content, really, like it's coming, I think they said last week it's coming a little bit after episode 3, or maybe they just said it's coming after episode 3, sometime after episode 3. And I think the PTS will be in March. Actually, I think PTS might be even end of February. They have been working on this for months and months and months and months and months and months and months. That may have been too many months. I got carried away. But they've been working on this for a while. So I truly do believe that this is going to be the year 2, because they said it's coming with power increase. It's coming with new content, new things to do, new ways to play. There's no way that could be episode 5, right? They can't delay this for another 6 months or another 4 months or another 5 months. So, yeah. I mean, I don't see any other way. But do you think that games can be made with all of these aspects and be balanced and be made well? Have enough content for people. And I'm not just talking about enough content for like the super hardcore 80-hour a game or 80-hour a week players, because I don't think that's possible. I don't think it's possible for any game to put enough content in, at least not without having a ridiculously high budget that they're never going to be able to make money on and be profitable. I don't think it's possible enough to have enough new content, but I do believe, and I think Destiny has proven this, that you can have enough content with rewarding and engaging replayable loops, like content loops, that can keep even hardcore players playing 40, 60, 80 hours a week for a bit of time. And then you need to have a decent schedule of drip feed content. Goes back to pushing back new content to fix the core of the game. But see, that's the thing. Like, that's what they're doing right now. But I don't think they're going to do it. I think that's why they're making a push to have this for year 2 as the selling point to a year 2 season pass. What have I said about Division 2? Like, there's not going to be anybody there for year 2 pass or to buy a year 2 pass if they keep effing up the game and they keep pushing off these fixes. What's the best way to sell it? Hey, this is free for all players, but it's also coming with the year 2 pass with all of this new content. Seems like win-win for me. See, the Star says no. Jack says no. I agree, making a game for all audiences is kind of a pipe dream. It is. The only games I've ever seen that can make a game for all audiences are subscription-based MMOs. WoW has been doing it for a decade. SWTOR does it a little bit. Like, their PvP isn't that great, but there's some PvP modes that are kind of fun. And honestly, I just don't think it's possible. Not at the size of some of these individual studios, right? Massive is a big studio, right? And they're run by Ubisoft or owned by however that works, right? They're under the Ubisoft umbrella, but like Massive alone doesn't make this game, right? It's Massive, it's Red Storm, it's multiple development houses. So in a sense, PvP is separated, but PvP is not separated in the sense that the game itself is not a separate contained game mode. Right? There are PvP contained game modes, but you still use PvE gear to get there. So any development time that goes towards PvE, even though there's another studio working on it, impacts PvP, which then means that more work has to be done to balance that stuff in PvP. And I think we all need to get to the point where we just embrace the idea of separating these entirely. You know, and I'm not even saying for like, I'm just going to flat out fucking say it. Like, Division 3 launches, it shouldn't have PvP unless you buy the PvP expansion. And it could be a day 1 expansion that's available day 1, but give that to those people. And if you don't want to play PvE, then you can only buy the PvP expansion. Like, I don't know why that wouldn't be a viable thing, right? If I buy the game and I'm a PvE player, the dark zones are just off limits to me. They're there. They're always enticing me, right? Every time I run by, I get that, like the crackling of the radio of like my comms being interrupted because I'm too near the dark zone or, you know, whatever the case is, but I can't go in there because I haven't purchased it. So I could purchase it and go in there, but I don't. And because of that, I know that the game I'm playing has been developed for me. Whereas let's say Jack or see the stars. Let's say you are a huge PvPer and you don't really give a rat's ass about running heroics or anything. You can go into PvP, buy just the PvP expansion or just the PvP DLC, we'll call it that, and you get those Dark Zone areas only. You are fully locked into that. And whatever gear, whatever you get with that, that's where you use it. That's all you can do. And then if you want to buy the game, let's say each one of them is $30, right? Base game's $30. PvP's $30. Or I'd say probably 45, 15 if we're going to be honest, because I don't think PvP should be the same price as PvE, because there's going to be far more PvE content. I just want more Hunter content. I'm going to be honest with you. Splinter Shield, it's no offense to you, I'm kind of sick of hunters. I shouldn't say I'm sick of hunters. I'm sick of of not having hunter content, but then everybody wanting hunter content and then us not getting it. Like I'm sick of hunters being the core idea behind everybody's idea. Like Bon Diesel the other day on Twitter had an amazingly cool idea. I thought it was a great idea for a replayable combat loop for Kenley College in particular that involved the hunters. But then I went even a step farther and I said, why just hunters? Like his idea was, you go into Kenley College and like the outcasts, like you get all as a replayable combat loop. You would go in there, you'd get these echoes where the outcasts are running from something that we don't see. And then like, maybe you get this one and like the Black Tusk are fighting something and you don't see. And at the very end, like you go through, you do all the little puzzles. And at the very end, the 4 pops and bam, 4 hunters pop up. Or if you're in a bigger group, more hunters all pop up. And that's what all of this has been building to. Boom, you kill them, you get some kind of random drop and a chance to get hunter gear, right? Like hunter mask or hunter chest piece or hunter backpack or hunter legs, whatever. You get a chance for that. So then if you get it or you don't, boom, you go out, you can replay it. Or maybe it locks it for that week and you can try again the next week, right? And so that would be a playable content loop. And I'm like, that's cool, but why does it have to be hunter focused? Like, I get it. Hunters are badass. Hunters are cool as hell. They're unique. I want more story about hunters. I don't give a flying F about fighting hunters anymore. I want more lore. I want more story. I want more narrative content. And if I can get that with having hunters in the game, cool. But yeah. Bring back Cleaners LMB. I mean, Cleaners will be back in next month. Yo, what's up, Kage? Thank you very much for the follow, by the way. You know the concept behind Monster Hunter community and the game content? No, I don't. I mean, I played Monster Hunter, the beta, and I was bored shitless. I volunteer as tribute. I'll write all that for effing free. I mean, that's the thing. Like, and this is where I was going at with I'm sick of hunters constantly being the focus of everything. Like, people want Coney Island to have hunters and hunters and hunters. I want the story to fucking progress because nothing's happened. Not only has nothing happened, but they're even saying that, like, the big, to do is that we're going after Keener, right? And maybe we finally find, capture, kill Keener. I would be shocked as shit if in 2 missions we find and kill Keener. I would be not at all shocked if in the first mission we get a lead to where Keener is, we go there in the second mission, and at the end, he escapes on a helicopter again. And it's essentially what we got with Camp White Oak, which is exactly the same as what we got with the Roosevelt Island the first time we did it, which was... I actually thought that's what the fucking zoo was going to be until we actually killed the chick. Oh, I absolutely don't think we get Keener. But see, that's the thing. Again, I want narrative content. Jax and Splinter Shield want hunters. Togio wants ninja abilities. See the Stars wants a friggin' PvP content. They only have so many development hours and development dollars that they can put into this game. They cannot do it for all of us. And I just don't think that it's possible. And I think they really need... I always like the idea of the Dark Zone in Division 2, more so than Crucible. Like, I always thought Destiny and Division do their PvP in a cool way that adds to the lore, right? That there's a reason for you to PvP in either. And then I think Destiny or Division took it a step further with actually making it PvEVP, right? Where there's this area that you can go do PvE activities and PvP. It just doesn't work. And it hasn't worked. I don't think open PvP, as much as players want to look back with rose-colored glasses on Division 1, it has never worked. There's always been massive issues with it. There's been times where it's been less shitty than others. And so those are the times that the people, that people look back on fondly and want to talk about and want to find again. But I don't think it's ever worked. Hunters should be for special certain content. Completely agree. A concept is to grind out the same monsters that get stronger developing on the leveling, and the monsters drop loot based on RNG. The harder monsters drop harder loot. No, I totally agree with that. Don't really believe in making you pay for the game more than needed to. Sure, and that works for that, but that's not going to work for everything, right? Like, that's not going to work for a Destiny. Like, there needs to be a loot incentive for looter shooters, right? That's not a looter. I mean, I guess it kind of is a looter shooter. You just don't shoot unless you play that one class. It's a sword that turns into a gun. But yeah. What's up, Skellenti? They ended up with the Iceborne content, which was paid DLC, but they have seasonal content that comes and goes. Yeah, I mean, I was bored crapless by Monster Hunter, right? I don't want to go, and I'm a huge fan of these grindable games, right? I'm a huge fan of Destiny. I'm a huge fan of Division 2. MMOs, right? Where you grind the same content for the most part for years and years and years. I'm a huge fan of that. For some reason, though, grinding the same monster over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, which is the same fight, it's essentially in the same area. Like, I don't know why. It's just nauseatingly boring to me. Ark? I didn't play Ark. What was, which, are you talking about Ark on PS4? Or no, I'm thinking of Horizon Dawn. Global Events back? They were okay. But again, like, you only have so many developing dollars, right? And this is where I get it, where this came up today, is because with these big changes in Division 2, or, last week, all of the Destiny community, all of the 1% Destinyers were going on and on, irritated as hell that the game is becoming too casualified again, right? That they felt like the game was starting to slip back into vanilla Destiny 2 area, right? With this drip fed content, none of it's really difficult, whatever. What did they do yesterday? They dropped this quest puzzle map thing that literally has the entire community trying to figure it out. That's freaking awesome. Oh, and it hasn't been solved yet. They had Naomi Labs a year ago. They did the same thing, which I think is ironic. They dropped this almost a year to the day as Naomi Labs. That's something that's awesome for everybody, that everybody can take care of, or that everybody can take part in, but it's not content made for everybody. There's going to be people that look at that and they're like, nope, too big for my brain. I got nothing to do with that. I'll watch a video about it, right? But development time and dollars went into it. And if you're not into that kind of story stuff and you want PvP to be fixed, it's got to be irritating to constantly see stuff like this made while PvP isn't fixed. Division 2, perfect example, right? The game hasn't even been out for a year. They're talking about their second entire revamp of the gear system in 1 year. Think about how many development dollars, hours, time, just resources in general have gone to revamping the gear twice in a year. Think about how much content that could have actually made for, even if it was for year 2. Even if we were always set to get the shitty 2 missions and 2 classified missions for episode 1, 2, and 3, even if that was always the plan, which I don't think it was, but let's just say that was always the plan. Imagine if these hundreds, thousands of hours that have been spent revamping the gear could have been put into year 2 content. Like, and then I get in arguments today on Twitter with somebody that wants a PTS for console, even though that was a proven fucking failure in Division 1. Personally, that's lower priority for me than newer content PvP. And not for me. Honestly, Splinter Shield, these changes for me are way bigger than content. Because changes like this make the content that we have now new-ish, right? Gives you new reason to do it. You can put all the content in this game as you want, and nobody's going to replay any of it because none of it's worth replaying because the gear, let's be honest, most of it sucks. The stuff that doesn't suck, you rarely ever get. And even if you get a good piece of gear, half the time, like they said in the thing today, half the time you don't even know if it's a good piece of gear. You don't even know if it is. I've got my entire stash is full, and I think my one player is completely full. And half the shit I look at, I'm like, why did I keep this? I don't know. Like, I don't even know what a max armor roll is now on a backpack. I don't know. I keep it because I think 20.5% is high. So I keep it because maybe I'll use it on another piece. But this piece has already been re-rolled. I'm not using it right now. I may use it later. Guess I gotta hold it. Like, it's insane. And then I get back into the game. Hardcore mode got me back into the game, and I was really enjoying it. But when I logged into my main character multiple times over like the Christmas break, the Christmas event, because I wanted all those items, because those pieces were awesome. That was the best apparel event that they've had, which ironically enough, I totally believe in the conspiracy, by the way, that was supposed to be a Halloween event. I completely buy into the fact that I think that was a Halloween event. Yeah. So I wanted those. I was bored shitless. I ended up dumping, I think, 10 or 20 bucks into the game just to finish out the collections because I was so bored. I couldn't even play the game just to get experience. I literally could have done anything in the game to get experience, to get my proficiency caches so I can get my apparel event caches. And I was bored. I didn't even want to play that. I wanted to play hardcore mode because that was fun. That was new. Even though it's the same content, there was a new way and a new reason to play it. So it was fun to me. And I still think they should have been able to do that. I still think they should have done that. Make a valid point, but for you, the gear system isn't so bad, but that's me. No, I totally dig. I dig. But again, Splinter Shield, that goes right back to what we're talking about, right? Like, for one person, it's fine. For another person, it's not. For this person, money, time, investment should be going towards this instead, whereas to this person, it shouldn't even be going to either of those. It should be going to this. Like, but this is, again, why I go back to the point. Spider-Man, God of War, Sekiro, what was it? The chick with the blue, the sword game, single player, Hellblade. I know I'm forgetting one. Jedi Fallen Order, if I didn't say that yet. Like Spider-Man. All of these single player games have been released and been loved almost universally. Death Stranding. Even though there's a large group of people that don't like that game, they don't like it because there's not enough content. They don't like it because, they don't like it not because there's not enough content. They don't like it not because there's not, because there's all these bugs or graphical issues or technical issues with the game. They don't like it because it's fucking boring, right? Like, people either love it or hate it, but not because of the technical condition of the game. 9 times out of 10, when there's issues with these live service, games as a service, MMO type games, multiplayer games, most of the time when people are bitching about it, it's balancing issues and it's technical issues, right? Even Call of Duty, even Battlefield, all of those games, it's all due to that balancing. And I don't think that balancing is possible in multiplayer games. So what I'm saying here is bring back the single player RPGs. Fuck multiplayer games. Make Division 3 a single player fucking RPG and give me 40 to 60 hours of gameplay. I'll be happy as a pig in shit. Make Division 3 Mass Effect 2. Just on Earth. There's one weapon skin that absolutely... Oh, I completely agree. The Reaper... I mean, just the names of most of them are complete Halloween. We need another epic Janko and the Hunter podcast. I don't think Splinter Shield has seen episode 9 yet. So we can't have another one of those. But if I get to do my Millennium Falcon Lego build, I think the majority of the time that I'm doing that, if and that's the announcement I'm going to make later tonight, but if I end up getting that at some point, I will be doing it on stream. I'll be redoing my entire stream setup to be able to build that on stream. And I can pretty much guarantee that every stream that happens on is going to be Star Wars talk. So, yeah. Horizon Zero Dawn, that's what I was thinking of. So what's Arc? Kage Sleepy says Destiny was failing in giving content to the players, so seeing this new quest this week and seeing the season change as it goes is keeping you interested. I don't think Destiny was failing in giving content. I think Destiny has an embarrassment of content for 95% of the players. For the top 5% or the top 1%, there's not enough content, but there never will be. And so as soon as content comes out that's not for them, they cry that it's for the casuals. But for 95% of the community, there is so much to do in Destiny, you cannot fucking do it. You can't. I bet you anything that if you were a new light player right now and you just started the game and you only put, let's say, 10 hours, like you're casual, let's say every day you get home from work, you play video games for 2 hours, 14 hours, I bet you anything it would take you probably 2 or 3 months to play through every bit of content that's in Destiny 2 right now. Somebody take me up on that challenge and let me know how long it takes you. 2 hours a day, brand new Destiny player. Anthem's gotten a lot better. I mean, beating the game Destiny 2. I mean, what does beating that game actually mean, right? I've been kind of curious to check out Anthem again, but if I did, I'd start all over just to get a new experience, and I just don't want to start that game all over again. I did, if Jenkins was here, though, she'd be super proud. I actually re-downloaded Dragon Age, so I've got Dragon Age ready to go at some point. I want to replay those before Dragon Age 4 comes out. I know I got a couple years for that, but I wanted to do it now anyway, because I've been craving single-player RPGs. I really, really have. And that's another place where this kind of topic, where this discussion topic kind of came from, is because I'm craving that experience. And like Division 1, for all of its failures in certain regards, I always loved the narrative of that game. So anytime new content came out that had new story, I liked it, because even the incursions had a story behind it. So it was kind of cool to go in and, oh, well, what are the cleaners doing here? Holy fuck, that's a fire truck that's like burning everybody, right? Like there was content, or there was story, lore, and narrative woven within the incursion, even though there wasn't necessarily like standing in a room with somebody as they're giving you a quest or whatnot. Underground, right, with all of the collectible things that you could find, the audio sources that you would find, gave you so much story and lore, and like hinting at, like, you know, agents that are betraying the division and whatnot. Like that was awesome. We need more of that stuff, because that's the stuff that drives me in games. At least I need more of that. Yeah, Division 2 not played more than 3 hours. I was shocked. I actually got my PlayStation stats today, and supposedly I played that more than Division 2 last year, which I don't buy, though, because it says I only played Division 2 for 400 and some hours, and my Division 2 thing actually says that I've got like 692 as of a couple weeks ago. So now it's probably over 700. His level got pushed back to 25. At level 30 on what? When an update needs to have story and lore content? I completely agree. You're the opposite. I have every commendation in Div 1 and have zero idea of the story. No shit. But that's because, like, commendations, while there are commendations for, like, collecting and finding that lore, they aren't really lore driven, right? Like if you don't care about that narrative, you're going to pick up that recording, or you're going to pick up this story, or you're going to unlock this video, and you're just going to ignore it because that's not what you're into. Whereas me, dude, those mini, I made an entire video on YouTube about how they should have auto played the new unlockable, like when you first do Grand Hotel in Division 2, right? You unlock the hyena little movie thing, right? Like the little cinematic is the word for it. I thought those should have autoplayed because I remember a month after launch, Johnny Boom still hadn't seen those. He'd unlocked all of them, but he still hadn't seen them because he didn't even know they were in game. And those are freaking fantastic. And that's content lore that's just being missed by people. Did a whole video about it. Popped up there a minute ago. Check it out. Well, not here on Twitch, but here on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, you saw it. So that wraps that one up. I pretty much feel as if they can't do it. I don't know if we came to a discussion, but welcome to my brain, because this is how my brain works, and this is how every discussion I've ever had goes. I posit a question. It happened yesterday on Twitter. I posit a question. I see multiple sides of it. More people bring in multiple sides. I can agree or disagree with their original idea, but then I can also argue for or against it, depending on however I am. And then it just keeps, it's essentially like making a puff pastry, right? You just got to keep kneading and rolling and folding and rolling and folding and rolling and folding. And at some point, you put it in the oven and you hope you did it enough. And that's basically where I come from. That's essentially the way my brain works. If you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for chilling. Thanks for hanging out. Next episode comes out tomorrow at 11. If you're watching this on Twitch, it's going to happen right now. But if you are watching on YouTube, I love you guys. You guys rock. Until I see you next time, which will be in like 24 hours for you guys. But for everybody that's here on Twitch right now, yep, you guys are stuck with me for like another hour. Pretty cool, huh?